This is a video for the Cooley Nutcracker Syndicate. Well, everyone, we mission complete. We went to the 4-star short there at Carolina International over the last few days and put Barley in the big class, the 4-star short. And all in all, I'm very, very pleased with him. There's still a lot of work to be done, and we're far from being perfect, but I feel like every competition it's getting a little bit better and better. This was the dressage on Thursday. It's the 4-star C test, and I feel like it's getting. It was better than I felt like it was better than the 4-star D test that we did at Bruce's Field a couple of weeks ago. Still a little bit messy. There's a few moments that are not so good, but all in all, it was a better performance. I talked to Eric Devander for a long time after the run at the dressage we did at Bruce's Field, and he gave me a couple of good ideas that he'd obviously worked with Liz a lot with him. And in the warm-up, Eric got me to suggested that I ride the horse quite forward and get the horse going and really getting him moving and showing off a bit. And it did actually, that technique did work, and I felt like there's a good change there, Barley. I felt like it was better, like the test was more impressive. By saying that, we got a lesser score. So I think at Bruce's Field we got a 30, and then we do a better test at Carolina and we got a 34. So anyway, I'm not too worried about the numbers, to be quite honest. It's more that the fluidity and the smoothness is getting better. I think the first change was very nice. The second change, which you're about to see, was I think it was one stride after my aid, and I tipped forward and it was a bit messy. So it wasn't that bad. But anyway, the flying changes are the part that I need to figure out the most. The judges also felt like I had the horse maybe a little bit too round in the neck. It's sometimes a bit of a lottery, like with the judging at the FEI level that we're having with Barley, is some judges have a different taste or a different flavour to each other. Both these judges sort of were on about 66%, so a lot of 7s. Obviously, we got a 4 for one of those changes, and anyway, it's getting better. I think our next competition with Barley, I'd like to take him to the advanced horse trials at Fair Hill, which will be a great fitness run. That'll be on April 18th and 19th. It's just a horse trial, so that it's not an FEI class, but it's a great cross country course, and it's got a big long hill in it, and I think it will be a good schooling round, a good fitness run as well for Barley and I. You'll see on our video later today, the cross country was fantastic here at the Carolina. Our biggest mission this weekend was to get qualification for Tryon 4-star long. I sort of had a bit of a game plan where to get sort of the requirement, you can't be more than a minute 15 over the time. So I didn't want to risk his health or sprint him too fast or anything around the cross country. So we were we're about a minute over the time. So we were inside the qualification of a minute 15, and we're sort of qualified now for the Tryon 4-star long. On paper, guys, I know the results aren't that amazing. So we were 8th after the dressage and had 2 rails down, and then we had a boatload of time penalties cross country. But I have to tell you that I'm just really, really pleased with that we got through it in a great way. I feel like he's super healthy, super sound. He's got good muscling. His body looks good, and we're getting more and more familiar with each other, which is great. Little bits like here where I go to balance him and he sort of half nearly walks. It's just these tiny things that I've got to make sure that I'm pushing him forward and making him impressive when I'm balancing him. So the show jumping warm-up was a bit of a nightmare. It was out in the middle of the cross-country course and horses flying around everywhere, and it was a bit of a mess. And I rode him lightly in the morning. We took them all for a big hack and that. But when I warmed him up for the show jumping, he was very electric. Like, he was wound up and nervous, and I felt like at the end of my warm-up it was good. But what I've noticed with Barley is the first couple jumps he really fires up, and he sort of lands and tears off a bit, and I'm sort of wrestling with him as we come to fence 2, and it's a bit annoying. Our last competition at Pine Top, I think we had fence 2 down as well, and I've got to sort of figure out a way of just keeping him just a little calmer and a little quieter. The other issue is our right turns are good, our left turns are not very smooth, and sometimes I think this left turn was good, but sometimes when I'm turning left he gets a little locked, and if we get into an argument it panics him a bit. So I'm sort of gently trying to make the left turns without sort of wrestling with him too much. The great news is I felt like he jumped the rest of the course unreal. This was a hard show jumping course. I know he's jumped clear here in the past at Liz, but it's tough and challenging, and just the way he's jumping is good. I obviously sent the video to Peter Wild, and he gave me the double thumbs up emoji. He said to me that I came in a little bit too fast to this combination. He said Barley jumps in so big that I give him too much momentum, and then he ended up having the front pole of C down. So Peter's critique for me is that I've got to come into the trebles or the combinations a fair bit slower, and like a bit more relaxed and quiet, knowing that Barley's going to sort of shoot in and jump big. Anyway, the cross country, I know I'm biased, but Barley had, I think, the best cross country round of the whole field. He was brilliant. This video never does anything justice, but it was I was nervous as hell. It was a big course.
We miss you, Liz.
This jump here, you don't get to see it sadly. It's a big oxer and then a bending 5-stride 90 degrees over a corner. And I was worried that our left turn would be a bit of a problem, but I worked on his left turns a fair bit in the warm-up, and he was perfect. Over the
quality of horses
there.
in this field is outstanding. I was just going on and on about MB's horse, what a fabulous.
And then we've got our Lemieux pads apparently on the way with Keep Fighting for Les and the Ocala Horse Properties logos on them. So I'm
super athlete.
Sadly didn't get them in time for this competition, but we'll have Barley's personalised saddle cloths ready to go for our next competition. This fence was a 3 strides on a pretty severe angle, and Barley was just so good.
Really nicely done for Boyd and Cooley Nutcracker.
Anyway, guys, good thing being back up here in Pennsylvania, I'm obviously a lot more closer involved with Silver, who helps me and Barley in the dressage. So I'm sort of looking forward to the next couple of weeks of being a little bit more detailed and focused on dressage work with Barley. The other thing is we're starting to introduce him to the sort of probably different gallops to what he'd been doing with Liz. So I've just got to ease my way into it.
And the brush. And right-handed to the corner. Nicely
done. That's the first 4 and 4.
Make sure that I don't
really nice.
push him. Like, I don't think his body's used to the big steep hills, so I'm just going up all the long hill gallops just on an easy speed at the moment, because I think it will require a few different muscles in his body, and sometimes it's a bit tough on their back. But I also think Barley will benefit, with his muscling and everything, utilising the big uphill gallops that we're lucky enough to be able to use here in Pennsylvania. I think we're on track. Obviously, the results aren't anywhere close to where Liz had him, but I sort of been talking to Eric and Peter, and we all sort of just understand that this is a process that's going to take time. I'd be an egotistical fool to think that I'd be able to get the same results out of Bali as Liz did in a short time. I'm hoping that eventually I'll get there, but Liz is a incredible rider and trainer, and had a wonderful partnership with Bali. So it's going to take some time. But saying that, I think we're going to have it together by Tryon. I feel like our next event at Fair Hill Advanced next month is going to be better. And then by the time we get to Tryon, I think we should be very, very competitive. We're really going to roll our sleeves up and go for it. The great thing with the cross country, he's just so honest and so well trained and schooled. Like, he just looks for the flags and hops through them well, and it was fun to ride. I'm usually nervous and terrified, and halfway through the course I was just thinking, this is just easy. And he really knows his job. He's confident.
Right-handed now.
And he's just a champion horse. He's got so much scope.
Oh my goodness, look at that horse jump that.
Amazing.
Look at him jump that. Anyway, guys, we'll got him back here in Pennsylvania. I'll get Kevin to put some eyes over him to make sure he's in good health. But at the moment, everything's in good shape, and very, very pleased to get our first 4-star short under our belt. And we've got our qualification for the 4 long now, and slowly but surely we're becoming more of a team.
That is not an easy question. As we see at the bottom of our screen, Boyd Martin and Cooley Nutcracker safely through the finish flags. We'll get you their score as soon as it's updated.